crap. The man, the myth, the legend, George Pickens. The Pittsburgh Steelers guys traded and paid DK Metcalf just a couple days ago. Second round pick, 5 years, was a $150 million deal. George Pickens is the last year of his contract, and he does have a huge ego. Let's just be honest. His ego is about the size of my house. It's pretty freaking big. So, guys, fact or crap? Should the Pittsburgh Steelers trade George Pickens now? Not during the season, not next week, not before the trade deadline. Now. This is tough. This is tough because when you think about it on paper, it makes sense. It makes sense to have a nice George Pickens and a nice DK Metcalf on the same field, whatever, yada, yada, yada. In Madden, the Steelers are going to be pretty nice. However, DK Metcalf and George Pickens are the same exact receiver. They go deep and they go get the ball. They're the same freaking guy. George Pickens had so many antics last season. I was shocked that he wasn't traded slash cut last season. I was all about the Pittsburgh Steelers trading George Pickens last season when he started throwing his helmet down and face masking people and doing this and shooting Browns fans. Like, what? What? Now, in his 3-year NFL career, that's right, just 3 short years, he has 1 year over 1,000 yards. That was 2020, 2020, 2020, 23. Last season, he was 99 yards from going over 1,000 and going into the final game of the 2024 NFL season. He finished with 900 yards. He had -1 yards in the final game of the season. Now, George Pickens does average 16.3 yards per catch because he's a down-the-field threat guy. He goes deep and he gets the ball. And over his 3-year career, he does have 12 touchdowns. George Pickens does have a chance to be a top 10, if not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. However, his ego needs to be checked. However, his crazy antics need to be checked. However, he needs a solid number 2 or be a number 2 receiver on a team to become a top 10, if not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. So, guys, fact or crap? Should the Pittsburgh Steelers trade George Pickens now? I'm going to say crap as of right now. I'm going to waffle around the answer. There's no waffling here on Man Hour, Buck. I know, but I'm going to waffle. I'm going to waffle because this could potentially be a match made in heaven. This could potentially open up the door for Van Jefferson to come back. This could potentially be a great for Pat and their other receivers for some nice underneath threats, right? If they bring back Russ and he has 2 deep threats, that could be a match made in heaven. However, if he starts to act out by game 4 of this season, they need to start looking for a trade suitor. If George Pickens starts to act out in the first 3, 4, 5, 6 games of the season, they need to trade him now. But if he is quiet and he does his job, goes out there and blue man collar it, right? I expect him to get a deal. So I'm waffling around the answer. So as of right now, I'm going to say crap. I think it's crap. That I do not think the Pittsburgh Steelers should trade him as of right now. What do you guys think? Fact or crap that the Pittsburgh Steelers should trade George Pickens now? Alpha Rob says fact. Fact, he says. I could see. So let me ask you this, guys. For the people that are going to say fact, we saw DK Metcalf get traded for a second round pick. We've seen other veteran receivers last year go for 4th and 5th round picks. So where does George Pickens' value fall? Is it a 1st round pick? I mean, he is only entering in his 4th year of his NFL career. Is he a 2nd round pick, or is he the 4th and 5th round pick? I'm curious of like where you guys think he would land. James Frank says fact. Get him out of town. James, I think your bias is coming into play a little bit here. I think you just do not want to see George Pickens on the field against your Cleveland Browns. Alpha Rob says he doesn't like to play in the cold and doesn't like to run block. Sounds like a perfect trade to Miami. Derek says after game reports about to be Housewives Pittsburgh. Interesting. Josh Olsen said the Niners could still win the NFC West if they stay healthy. They could, but they won't. Let's just be honest. Old Man Rivers says crap. George Pickens needs to stay put in Pittsburgh, and DK and George are match made in heaven. Derek says, does that position need that kind of swag to be great? A lot has been said to a great receiver and his confidence. So Derek is saying that George Pickens has those antics and that egos is because he is great and he has the confidence. So Derek, there's that fine line of confidence and ego filled, right? You definitely toe the line of being called full of yourself, ego, and confidence. Right now, George Pickens falls on the ego side, full of himself, right? When he was being that fake tough guy versus the Cleveland Browns, that was just asinine. That was stupid, right? That was asinine and stupid. If he could fall on the other side of that line and be confident, but still kind of have that swag or whatever, he'd be a totally different, likable person. But right now, he's fallen on the wrong side of it. James Frank says DK and Pickens will be fighting. Pickens don't want that smoke, though. DK would be a one-hit wonder. If those two box, DK would knock out George Pickens and like that, baby. Like that. Let's just be honest. Alpha Rob says when he's not getting the ball, he doesn't try. Maybe with DK there, maybe that'll elevate. I don't know. But you are right. When he's not getting the ball, he definitely is a little crybaby. Derek does say, crap, do not trade George Pickens. And James Frank says, Mike Evans has confidence. George Pickens has an ego. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself.